What is going on, everybody? Wired here. I hope you guys are having an excellent, wonderful, fantastic day. And today we got to talk about a movie that I'm actually a little bit hyped for. I actually haven't been hyped for a Marvel movie probably since Endgame, but I am a big Guardians fan, and I am hoping Guardians of the Galaxy 3 does really well. As you all know, I'm recording this on May 3rd. It is about to come out on the 5th. And from the trailers, I'm not really sure what to think about it from the trailers. I felt a little bit better about it before it actually came onto Rotten Tomatoes. And now it has an 80% critic score. And just routinely, I think if the critic score is anywhere decent, it's probably not going to be too good. And if the critic score is trash, then the audiences will probably love it. I think there's a whole dichotomy with that, and critics and audiences sit on the opposite end of the spectrum. We saw this when I reviewed the Mario movie. The last movie I went to see with my daughter, and she absolutely loved it. She actually just told me last night she actually wants to go see it again. We're going to wait till it comes to our local theater. We have a little theater right by us, luckily, that is a very old-timey theater. They get movies kind of late, but it costs like $3 to go. So it's absolutely awesome. You don't get wrecked on tickets, but I was like, hey, we'll go see it again if you want to. But before that, I'm going to go see this movie, and I'm going to try to get tickets early on Friday because I do want to see this movie. It's the first, I guess I missed all of Phase 4 because I wasn't excited for anything about that. But I go over to Variety here. They say Guardians of the Galaxy 3 to end Super Mario's 4-week box office reign with a $120 million debut. And I don't know, maybe I'm just comparing against stats against Endgame, but I don't really think a $120 million debut over the weekend is going to really be that good for this movie. Hopefully it makes its money back, but I guess, in all honesty, if this is going to be the last installment of the Guardians franchise, which I think it kind of has run its course, it actually got really sloppy kind of after Endgame with, the whole Gamora thing, I think, and, all the Guardians were kind of absent from that other than Rocket and Nebula. But we'll see. Like I said, I hope it's going to do good. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the conclusion of Marvel's trilogy about an intergalactic crew of misfits, looks to kick off a summer movie-going season with a bang. The superhero adventure is hoping to bring in $120 million in its opening weekend, falling in between the starts of 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is $94 million, and 2017 sequel, which is at $146. And like I say, I love the first Guardians. The second one, I didn't really care for as much. I thought it was okay. It wasn't really super story driven. But it was more about Quill and then that nice touching scene with Yondu at the end. So, I kind of liked it. There's a chance that Volume 3 could fall short of those projections and land closer to a less spectacular $110 million to $118 million, according to independent tracking services. Of course, it's hard to chide a film that hits $100 million in its domestic debut. Well, I'm going to say this has probably cost way, way more than that. But the idea, especially for tentpoles that cost $200 million plus, is to grow, not shrink, the fanbase with new installments, which would be astounding for Disney and the MCU, since everything they've kind of produced lately has been a flop. I think actually superhero movies in general have been a flop. I know Wakanda Forever didn't perform as well as they thought it was going to. I think they should have recast Chadwick Boseman. Ant-Man 3, that was a total flop. I know even DC with Shazam 2 is not looking good, and I think Aquaman 2, although it hasn't come out yet, is totally going to bomb if they keep Amber Heard. I know Chris Pratt is a little bit of a polarizing figure for some reason. People don't like that he's has conservative Christian values, for whatever some reason that makes him a bad person in the eyes of some people, but I like Chris Pratt enough. So hopefully I don't think that's going to affect the film at all, though. But we'll see. And also the whole James Gunn controversy, which I don't want to get into right now. The point's either they're mounting indifference to the newest phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or a sign that Disney waited too long to conclude the Guardians story, which began nearly a decade ago and turned Chris Pratt and David Bautista into bona fide movie stars and writer-director James Gunn into an A-list filmmaker. At the same time, there's not really a gauge for a franchise that's 32 films deep. I would agree with both those statements. Unfortunately, Disney did make the stupid decision to fire James Gunn, and then they rehired him, and I think they fired him pretty much based off of nothing. But, that's kind of the, shtick for Disney. Did the same thing with Johnny Depp. No Pirates 6. Because, because of Amber Heard. Not every comic book movie can establish records, but other than the blockbuster success of Sony's Marvel sequel, Spider-Man No Way Home, which I did see in theaters, actually. So, okay, I forgot about that. I am a little biased for Phase 4 because that's the one movie I did see, and I thought that was an awesome movie. I actually really loved that, but Sony was also involved in that. One of 6 movies to ever cross $2 billion worldwide, the MCU has struggled to churn out a billion-dollar hit since the grand finale of 2019 Avengers Endgame. Pandemic-era installments, including Thor: Love of Thunder, which I heard was not too good, and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which I heard also was underwhelming, have been especially front-loaded at the box office. Earlier this year, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania continued that trend by crushing expectations with its huge $106 million debut, but failing to sustain momentum in the following weeks. It ended its theatrical run with less than $500 million worldwide, the worst result in the Paul Rudd-led trilogy. I mean, which honestly, not a super big surprise. I don't know. I thought the first Ant-Man is decent. The second one, really, not so much. I think Ant-Man's okay. I don't know. I don't think he's as much of a draw as the Guardians, though. The Guardians, you could love anybody about them. The Groot, Rocket, Quill, Gamora, I think they have a lot more pull, but that's not to say that they're going to actually do a lot better with this. Article from the Daily Mail here is kind of saying the same thing. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 eyeing $110 million domestic box office debut and $250 million worldwide, slightly above the debut for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, I think this is going to do better, like I said, than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really do. I think it's just got a lot more pull. Instead of just going to see Ant-Man, you're going to see all these different characters. And I think they're a lot more likable. I think Ant-Man's a little bit like, he's stiff, he's nerdy. He does have that whole dad-daughter complex, which I'm a sucker for because I have a daddy-daughter dynamic as well. But I think the Guardians will probably outperform that. Will it make their money back? Will it be a smash for Phase 5? Or is this kind of the end of the superhero era? I'm not really sure. Marvel Studios will usher in the summer movie season once again with its highly anticipated sequel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the final installment of director James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And I have seen a lot of stuff online about this where people are kind of sad that this is supposed to be the end of them. This is the end of this iteration, at least, of the Guardians. And this movie is supposed to actually primarily focus around Rocket, something with his whole past and all that. I don't know the details too much. I try to, shirk away from spoilers. But it is supposed to be mainly about, Rocket Raccoon, which is probably my favorite Guardian. I'm kind of a sucker for, animals and stuff like that. While we wait for the threequel starring Chris Pratt, who recently opened about auditioning for all of the other Marvel movies, new box office projections from the deadline have put the opening weekend at $110 million domestic and $250 million worldwide. And this is pretty much the same thing. It's just another projection of what they think it's going to do, slightly better than Ant-Man. Hopefully it'll be a hit. I'm hoping the movie is really good. I hope it makes money. I like the Guardians. I think they're all pretty cool. Sad to see them go, but it'll be what it's going to be. Anyway, that's all I got for you right now. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you for listening this long. Later.